How's everyone doing? Thanks for joining me on my small engine repair channel. Today's project is on this Honda HS80 track drive two-stage snowblower. And the issue we're having with it is the machine goes really fast in forward and not very fast in reverse. So we're going to show you how to adjust the transmission on one of these HS80s. Alright guys, so I've been working on this machine for a little while now. I just got some parts in and replaced the friction disc on this machine. And I haven't tested it out yet because one thing I noticed before I put everything back together and button it up is that when I have it in the highest forward speed, which is the third speed, in the forward direction, the friction disc goes too far over on this friction wheel, and you can see the little bolts that are on the friction wheel actually will rub up against the friction disc. Let me show you what that looks like. Alright, so I have this snowblower set up into the third forward gear, and as you can see, the friction disc goes way too far over on the friction plate, and if I were to rotate this thing, you'll be able to see that that's going to run right over top of this nice fresh rubber friction disc that I put on there. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to move it over so that the forward speed is not as far to the right on this shaft as it is currently. So how we're going to be able to do that is through this sort of linkage here, and this arm actually has an adjustment on it right here. This arm is then directly connected to the speed control lever, so your 3 forward speeds and 1 reverse speed actually move this friction disc back and forth on that shaft. So what I need to do is essentially set this up in the third gear, the one that's going to give me problems. Then I'm going to have to loosen up this jam nut while I'm holding on to this guy here. And what I need to do, if you take a look here, I need for this whole assembly to be further over this way, which means when it's in the third gear, I have to basically shorten up this rod so that it doesn't go as far forward or as far to the right on this particular shaft. So what you're going to need to complete this job is simply 2 12mm wrenches. Okay, so I'm going to use one wrench just to hold this in place while I loosen up this jam nut. Okay, I'm going to unscrew that a few threads. Yeah, so once I loosen off that jam nut, the next thing I want to do is there's a cotter pin at the end of this shaft that we're going to have to try and take out so that I can pull this shaft right out of this mechanism here and see if I can shorten this up a little bit. Okay, so once you get that cotter pin out and it falls on the floor and you lose it, then you can spend the next 15 minutes looking for it. I'll look for it later on. So once you got it out, then what you're going to do is screw it in so that the other end is screwing into this piece here. This is effectively shortening this rod. And you can test it to see. I'm going to go too far with it. So you put it back in there, and put yourself back into the highest gear there, and then come back down and see, as you can see there, it's definitely not going to rub up against those screws. So that's, I would say, is probably pretty good. Just going to test it in the reverse direction as well. Make sure it's not going to rub up on anything in reverse. And that's it. That's all we've got. Now, the other one I want to check is the first forward gear, because I want to make sure it's sufficiently to the right of center to actually get it to go forward, right? So if this friction disc is actually exactly in the center of this wheel, it's going to go neither forwards nor backwards. But if it's a little bit to the right of it, it's going to go forward. As you can see, it is a little bit to the right, so I'm happy with that. Just not going to go very fast, which is fine by me. As long as I have 3 usable gears, I'm good to go. Now all you need to do, find that cotter pin, put it back in to secure that rod, and then tighten up the jam nut with your 2 12mm wrenches, and you'll be good to go. So this is just a quick little tip, guys, on how to adjust the speeds and transmission on one of these little, well, not little, these big brute of a snowblower, Honda HS80s, and this is probably going to be applicable to the HS55, 50, 55, 70, and 80. So hopefully this video is going to help somebody out. If you like it and it does help you out, please leave a comment down below. If you're not a subscriber, consider doing so. And go ahead and smash the like button. Helps me out on the channel. So till our next project, guys, take care.